Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some consequences for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Yellow King Stay. The original OP is C++ posted to r/relationships December 6th, 2013. Unfortunately, the original post was deleted and can't be recovered. However, OP gives a brief summary of what happened in the update, and the person who collected this also gathered some of the comments to give more context. I, male 27, am suing my brother, male 41, and my girlfriend, female 23, wants me to disown my parents too. Is she right? I previously deleted the post, just to be safe, but here's the summary. After I got a degree in computer science, my brother and his two partners recruited me to work a summer for them. They wanted me to set up their infrastructure for their new company and finance and investments. One summer turned into 2 years of free work as a secretary, receptionist, systems tech, personal assistant, accountant, research analyst. They paid me about 4 or 5 times, totaling about $7,000 to $8,000 in 2 years. When I left to start grad school, they were mad that I wouldn't stay. When I finished grad school and put them on my resume, they lied to prospective employers about me. They denied I worked for them and said I was trying to use my brother's name to get ahead. They also accused me of visiting their office and sexually harassing female employees they never even had. I called them to ask them about it, and they, including my brother, just laughed about the whole thing and said I was getting what I deserved. Kind of like, it's what you get when you fuck with us. My counselor and some other people from school, including my headhunter, helped me get a job. But I had to sue my brother and his partners for slander and other things. My brother called me to laugh about the lawsuit when they got served, but now they're scared. And my brother has my dad pressuring me to drop the lawsuit and just sit down with them both to work something out. My dad called this just a big brother bullying little brother nonsense and demanded I drop the lawsuit. He and my mom uninvited me to Thanksgiving at their house, but my mom pretty much tried to stay out of it. I could tell this was hard for her. There's very little to update legally in terms of the lawsuit, but I had a laptop that contained lists of clients that my brother and his partners stole from their respective employers before they left to start the company. I didn't want to turn those files over to my attorney because things are bad enough for them already. My girlfriend had a different opinion. She wants me to just absolutely let them have it and crush them. I called my attorney and told them I had the files and dropped them off at his firm on the 9th. On the 10th, I got a call from his firm saying that my attorney needed to see me that very day. I went in and he said that the files would be turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, so it's out of our hands now. But he really wanted to talk to me about my parents. He spoke to my dad and basically said that my dad is a world-class prick. He's going to subpoena both my parents to testify at a deposition and probably at trial if we make it that far. He wanted me to prepare myself for what they might say about me. He made it clear, there's no turning back now. I didn't pay anything for my attorney to take the case, so his firm is very financially invested in this now. Basically, they're calling the shots now. I think my attorney thinks I'm weak or that I'll want to back off or take it easy on them. He actually told me that he knows my family would weaken me. I think he underestimates me. Anyway, he told me to just brace myself for the heat my dad will bring on me. I told him I had 2 older sisters on my side and my mother was pretty neutral. He assured me that my mother is absolutely not neutral, so he told me to prepare for anything. So I got phone calls from my 2 sisters who both live about 300 miles away. They were disgusted with my dad and my brother's behavior and had told me they were 100% behind me. Now, they told me that my girlfriend and I are uninvited to go see them and their children this Christmas. They told me they loved me, but that I needed to back off of this lawsuit. This was a little bit of a shock. It didn't crush me, but it wasn't easy to hear. They won't be contacting me anymore and want me to not contact them, and they said they have their reasons. They both cried when they called, but I stayed calm. They also emailed my girlfriend to let her know about being uninvited to their homes for Christmas. My girlfriend blasted them both with a very scathing response that I wish she hadn't sent, but it's her decision how she responds to them. My dad is getting a little out of control. He confronted me and my girlfriend outside the house of a family friend who had us over for a holiday get-together on Sunday night. It got heated, and I said some things that were probably below the belt and made him almost cry. His eyes watered and he was trying to not cry. Then my girlfriend jumped in and blasted him like she did my sisters. Basically, she's on a roll right now. I can tell the gloves have come off for her. My mom just stayed in my dad's truck and watched, but she couldn't hear anything, I don't think. For now, there's nothing else going on. Oh, one other thing. My attorney said my brother and his partners closed doors on their business already. They went under. They filed some puzzling and contradictory responses to our lawsuit, which surprises me because my brother is smarter than that. Usually. They've now changed attorneys and retained a reputable firm. The first thing the new attorneys did is ask what it would take to settle. My attorney says their new attorneys are smart. They know it will be a bloodbath in court. I guess I'll just have to wait and see where it goes from here. But some of you commented from experience that the blowback from legal battles like this tears families apart for decades sometimes. I can see how this can happen and probably will. Edit. Some of you are asking about why my sisters changed their minds. I know that my dad helped them both buy their respective houses. They both still owe him a lot of money for that. My best guess is he used that and maybe other things to coerce them into taking his side. Too long didn't read. Lawsuit is at a standstill. My sisters are now on my dad/brother's side. I turned over the laptop and it looks like I'm gonna win, but it's not over till it's over. Relevant comments from the original post that got deleted. Mystery Man's comments. In your place, I would destroy these bastards. They are obviously very nasty people, and you've got enough on them to drive them out of business. I think you should do it. As for your parents, tell them to stay out of this matter because if they decide to choose a side, you're prepared to cut them out of your life. And, as an aside, in your place, I would tell your sister-in-law that your brother has been cheating on her too. Oh, there's a lot of information missing here. Opie responds, my sister-in-law knows he's been cheating for years. She's one of those women that feels as long as he comes home and keeps the money coming, she's good. I also think that's one of the reasons my sisters were so quick to take my side. They really hate that about him. It's like they were just waiting for a chance to cut him off. Mystery Man's responds, your brother sounds like a truly despicable person. You gave him every chance to put this right, and he attempted to ruin your career prospects and then laughed in your face. You owe him nothing more. All three guys need to face the consequences of their actions. OP. He really did laugh in my face on top of all of it. All three of them also all of a sudden transferred their houses to the names of their respective wives. Like, they think that's gonna somehow protect them. They know better, but they're so arrogant they think they can beat the system. Deleted user comments in response, I was on the fence about total ruination when you said he never paid you, and then I got to the paragraph where your brother and his cronies tried to destroy your reputation. He's no longer your brother. He is your enemy. You need to go scorched earth on his ass. If he does this to his own brother, imagine what he would do to another innocent person who earns his spite. He needs to be exposed and lose his license. Your parents are uselessly in denial, and you needn't consider their opinions as valid. Ignore them. As for the three pieces of shit who pushed you into this, I'm sorry you have to deal with the guilt of being the one to stop them, but you're doing the right thing. They need to be stopped. Opie responds, one thing is to deny I worked for them. That's bad enough. But then, to go the extra mile and accuse me of sexual harassment? That was a bitter pill to swallow. That was the embarrassing question to have to answer at job interviews. Deleted user comments, how did you not see this coming? I mean, you of all people should know what your brother is like. Opie responds, this is the best and hardest question I've gotten. I always knew my brother was a bit of a narcissist. I just didn't know the extent of it. Because of the age difference, I didn't associate with him much. I think what happened here is I truly believed I was helping my brother for one summer, and it quickly turned into 2 years. I knew they would be mad when I left. I knew after a few months that all three of them were complete narcissists. I also thought they would hate me for leaving because they relied on me so much to keep the company operating. I knew they would have to hire 5 or 6 people to replace, and that's not an exaggeration. So I knew they would be mad. After that first year, I knew that this would end up badly between me and my brother. But I could have never guessed it would be this bad. That's why I decided to go apply for grad school. Sure enough, when I finally left, all three of them were really pissed at me. They had not 1 ounce of gratitude for the 2 years of free labor. But I never guessed they would slander me like that once I tried to get a job. Especially because when I was still in grad school, they would call me to come in on weekends and work for them. But by then, I was waiting tables at a restaurant near school, and by then, I had a couple of close friends who pretty much shook some sense into me, because I actually considered going back to help them part-time while I finished school. I guess I should have seen more of this coming, but I was honestly completely and utterly blindsided by them slandering me, and making up the whole sexual harassment BS. As narcissistic as they are, and I've never met more narcissistic people, I truly was shocked that they came that hard at me and showed absolutely no compassion. User Zazy comments, I don't understand. If they didn't pay you for your work and you were going to let that slide, they could have at least put in a good word for you when you were applying for your new job. I don't understand why they were mad at you for leaving the company when they weren't even paying you for your job. That makes no sense. OP, they were mad that they would have to hire 5 or 6 people to replace me. Then they got more mad when I refused to work for them even part-time while I was going to school. By then, I was waiting tables and actually making money. In their mind, they really believe that I left them high and dry, even though I told them 8 months in advance that I was leaving. They were so arrogant that they thought I'd never leave. I mean, come on. They were so arrogant that they thought I would work just for the honor of being around them and learning from their greatness. They actually thought if I stayed and learned from them, I could get my own clients, get rich, and that would be their way of paying me. That's how arrogant they were. Relevant comments of the update. Bonosaurus Rex comments, oh man, you had better be prepared for no family gatherings for a very, very long time. I don't think a lot of people would have gone as far as you did, and that certainly is your own choice. But who loses here now, in the name of justice? Your family could lose a lot of money, and maybe they deserve that, but now, there's no benefit to anybody but your attorney, as far as I can deduce from the situation. You are one emotionally rock-solid human being, perhaps a little too rocky. OP responds, they were making me unhireable, so filing the lawsuit was something I had to do to clear my name. The 4 big companies that I got interviews with all said the same thing, that they wouldn't hire me because it looked as though I lied into my resume, and also the sexual harassment thing scared other companies away. I'm not suing my whole family, just my brother and his 2 partners. They have a lot of money, but will probably wind up broke after this. My parents don't depend on my brother for money at all. I did call them repeatedly and ask them to stop, but they just laughed at me and kept charging ahead and slandering me. It just became a game to them, and they showed me zero respect. They were hoping I'd have no job to go to and would just come back and work for them again. That's what they thought would happen. User JSH1138 comments, your brother might go to prison over this. To be honest, I think giving those files to your attorney was the wrong thing to do. I'm all for taking your brother to the cleaners because he screwed you out of money, but if your brother goes to jail, you're going to be uninvited to family functions for life. I agree with your attorney that you haven't thought this through, and that you're going to have massive regrets very soon and wish you could call the whole thing off. My advice to you is to sit your girlfriend down and explain that you handling this the way you have has caused massive damage to your relationships with your family members, and that you regret that. Ask her to help you not say anything you don't mean, and ask her to stop saying inflammatory things herself. Explain that you appreciate her support, and you feel she's right to think what she thinks, but that you don't want to not see your sisters for the next 20 years or your mom, so you two need to tone it down some, and try to smooth things over. The next time your dad confronts you, ask him what he wants you to do. If the U.S. attorneys have it at this point, then it's out of your hands. You literally are powerless to stop this train now, so ask him what he wants from you. The answer might be interesting. I am really curious as to why a list of clients stolen from an employer would constitute being sent to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Hopefully we get that missing context soon. Opie responds, just from talking with my attorney, he thinks, at worst, the banks they used to work for may sue them for violating their non-compete contracts because they weren't supposed to contact those clients for 1 year. But banks don't usually sue after this long, especially because they were only able to steal about 5% of the clients on the list. In our state, I guess it's a little harder to enforce those contracts. They will only get in criminal trouble if those lists contain private information about people that would be illegal to take home as a bank employee. Either way, yeah, I guess maybe some jail time is in their future. Nothing I can do about it now. Opie also responds, "Also, you're not far off on the parenting. My parents always let my brother get away with things, but it was usually pretty small stuff. I could always tell he was their pride and joy, but I didn't mind because I grew up idolizing him as well. There's kind of a big age difference, so even though he's my brother, he always carried himself as more of a fatherly figure." User Generous Heart comments, "I'm sorry your sisters decided to turn their backs on you. Your dad probably told them they'd be disowned if they kept talking to you. I hope you tell your sisters that you won't tattle if they decide to keep a relationship with you despite the pressure." Opie comments, "From what I hear, he helped them both when they bought their respective houses. I think they still owe him for that. I just found out about that from somebody else, not my sisters. I have no idea exactly why the sudden change, but anything is possible. They initially were so disgusted with my dad and especially with my brother. They even told me about some grievances they had against my brother that they never really aired. So it shocked me when I got those 2 calls. You know, I hung up the phone with one and 2 minutes later, the other one called, so I pretty much guessed by then what was coming in the second call." Opie comments further, "More than anything, I think I'm hurting for my girlfriend. She takes things hard sometimes and really was blindsided by my sisters because we had plans to spend Christmas there, so this was unexpected. My girlfriend had bought gifts for my little nieces, so yeah, this was not expected at all. I woke up Monday night and saw my girlfriend sitting up in bed with her hands over her face. I know she finds all of this really hard to deal with. As far as my mom, I don't know what to make of that." Opie comments further, "I didn't want to go into so much detail. There would be just too much to type, but with what I'm finding out about my brother through my attorney, it's worse than I ever thought. Not paying me and slandering me was just what I knew about, but now we know there was other stuff, like fraud against me and others I didn't know about. Serious tax violations also against me and against the IRS. And some identity theft, where he used my name on some documents that I clearly didn't sign or even know about. The more they dig, the worse it gets. At some point, it's almost easier to just tell them to stop digging. Let's just go with what we have. I know one thing. I was very lucky I left them when I did. Otherwise, I may have been dragged down with them in the legal trouble they have coming their way." Deleted user comments, "I feel like your sisters were coerced by your opposing family members to cut you off. Do you know if this is what happened, OP?" Opie responds, "I'm sure that's what happened. They didn't tell me anything other than they have their reasons. They said it hurts them a lot to do this to me, and that they loved me, and always will. But they didn't tell me why exactly they suddenly changed their minds. Frankly, I didn't want to know why. I just wanted to hang up the phone as soon as I could. It was hurtful to hear them say they wanted to cut all contact. In fact, I'm glad I didn't stay on the phone long enough to hear those reasons because that just would have made it harder to stomach the whole thing." User Lowy51 comments, "You're absolutely in the right here. I'm sorry your sisters turned their backs on you like that, but your girlfriend seems to have a good head on her. If a little heated. Rifts can heal, but you do not deserve to be treated this way. Good luck, and make sure to keep us posted." Opie comments, "Yeah, when my dad told us that it should tell us something that the family is on his side and know we're wrong. My girlfriend told him something like, there's a big difference between people taking your side and knowing you're right. They took your side because they owe you money and you coerced them into it, but they know you're in the wrong here. It should tell you something that you have to bribe people to be on your side. That's what should clue you in that you're wrong." My dad just looked at her disgusted and angry, but I've never seen him speechless like that. User the female Dylan comments, "OP, your girlfriend does not sound like she has anger management problems. She sounds like a mama bear whose instincts kick in when she realizes that her cub is in danger. You are really lucky to have her. I think it's been hinted at here, but I just want to reiterate, she is your family now. That is how family acts. That is how family defends family. As for your lawyer, if you trust him, you should let him do what's best. Typical, I am not a lawyer caveat, but you should know that he also has an ethical duty to abide by your decisions of how to pursue this matter, as long as you're not asking him to violate laws or ethics himself. If you feel he's taking over your case, feel free to tug the reins. He's obligated by the bar to listen. Good luck. OP responds, I'm not sure I want to tug on the reins. I'm gonna let him take care of the legal stuff. At this point, I'm all in. I have to be. It's not like the family gets back together if I suddenly pull my punches with the lawsuit. To them, it's drop the lawsuit or we disown you. There's no middle ground. They're not going to give me credit for pulling punches. As far as my girlfriend goes, I don't think she's overstepped any boundaries. My sisters emailed her, so she emailed a response. My dad addressed her in that argument, and she responded. She just used words that cut, but the truth hurts, so I guess there's no point in sugarcoating anything at this juncture. OP comments further, they're actively trying to hide their assets, but we know where they are. It's very hard to hide assets once they've been in your name. They've changed their houses to their wives' names, but according to my attorney, in the state we live in, any transferring of assets that's done in anticipation of a lawsuit is invalidated by the court. From what I understand, the court will go back as far as 5 years to see what they've been doing as far as transferring or selling off assets. User McMurch comments, OP, what were the below-the-belt things you said to your dad? Also, have you considered proposing to your girlfriend? Because it seems like she is just about the best person you've ever come across in your life. I'm sorry that you have the kind of family where a situation like this is possible. I couldn't imagine not having any family to support me. But all the same, I really hope you come out of this as on top as possible. And maybe, just maybe, your dad and brother will have a silent realization where they say to themselves, holy shit, I am a horrible person. Have as awesome a Christmas as possible with your girlfriend, and hopefully she becomes something more soon. I think that'd be great for both of you. Also, is her family at all involved in this? Are they being supportive of her and you, or are they out of the loop and a non-factor? OP comments further, he's such an asshole, but he just stood there and took it. He looked like he was about to cry. My girlfriend jumped in as well and asked him what it was like to go to that church he goes to 5 times a week and then come out and be the kind of man that he is. She said, if Judgment Day comes for you tomorrow, what are you going to do? Give God your brother's name again and say that it was him? User the squiggly duck comments, holy camole, how did he react to that? I'm sure finally being able to vent and get it all out felt good. You sound like a strong man, and your girlfriend sounds like an amazing and supportive woman. Her family sounds very supportive as well. Have you thought about opening up more to them? I'm sure it would be nice to have a support system, no matter how small, in the loop with all of this craziness. OP comments, my dad reacted by standing there quietly and taking it, which is very unlike him. He's normally an overbearing bully. He's never speechless and he never cries. No way I'm going to put this on their shoulders. That wouldn't be fair. My girlfriend can tell them what she wants and vent as much as she wants. As long as they support her, that's more than enough for me. User the Shine Policy responds, what did your girlfriend say to your dad that cut? What did you say? Opie responds, I posted that a summary in a long comment somewhere on this post. Basically, my dad questioned my morals, so I brought up stuff about him. He cheated on my mother a long time ago. He got a DUI, but gave the cops his brother's name, and his brother took the rap for that about 25 years ago. His brother is no longer alive, so it hurt him that I brought up how he treated his late brother. There was other stuff about him, having been excommunicated from a church for ripping off many of the members when he had a small construction business, which he used his brother's license, by the way, because my dad had his revoked for being a crook. Then my girlfriend asked him how it felt to go to church 5 days a week, which he does, and then come out and be the crook that he is. Then she asked him what he was going to do if Judgment Day came tomorrow for him. She asked, what are you going to do? Give God your brother's name and say that he did all those things? Not you? Maybe it's because I've been watching a lot of mystery shows, but there is something very fun about starting from the middle and piecing it all together before we get to the conclusion. Final update, 5 months from the original post. Okay, let me begin by saying that I am not the original poster. I'm his girlfriend. We live together and I read the update post. My boyfriend is moving on and wasn't going to post a last update, so I asked if I could. And he said yes. Things have wrapped up. They signed a settlement agreement and now it's up to the judge to approve it. The judge won't do that for 2 more weeks, but apparently it's a formality. It's a sure thing he'll approve it, is what the attorneys say anyway. As far as the settlement, I can't really disclose much, but I can say that it's close to what my boyfriend was suing for in terms of money figure. They had transferred their houses to their wives' names, which are in the process of being sold to pay off the settlement. The settlement included a written apology and complete admission of guilt from all three of the defendants. They also had to write apology letters and retractions to all the employers that refused to hire my boyfriend based on them slandering him. I think there were 4 companies in all. All 3 of them had their licenses taken away and will never work as financial advisors again in any state apparently. They also will face a criminal investigation due to some forged signatures on some of the deals they made, which will lead to conviction, but probably no jail time according to the experts. Financially, they are beyond ruined, which is what I thought they deserved the whole time. I know my boyfriend regrets this whole thing, and I understand that. It's still his family, and they were close at some point. I think he's better off without them anyway, but that's easy for me to say. His parents are totally a lost cause. I don't think there will be any reconciliation in this lifetime after what happened. I thought my boyfriend would be open to one when the dust settled, but now I don't. During the mediation hearings, his mom and dad both testified. They both lied, but I knew his crooked dad would. I was shocked that the mother lied about there having been a verbal agreement that my boyfriend would work for his brother's company in exchange for room and board at the parents' house, and that the dad had also been paying him in cash for working. She said she witnessed my boyfriend refusing payment from his brother many times. She lied about a lot of other very hurtful things right there, while my boyfriend sat there and watched her. She never looked at him, not once. His dad never looked at him either, but at least he sat there the whole time after he'd testified to support his older son and his friends. His mother left the room crying after she testified. I was not shocked that she testified because the attorney had said she might. But I was extremely shocked about the horrible things she said about my boyfriend. She will someday regret doing that to her son. Ugh. Such an awful and just revolting and repulsive thing, what she did. What she did to her youngest son is inexcusable. It was beyond utterly disgusting that she did that. Ugh. She really has no clue how much damage she did to her youngest son. I doubt he'll ever get over it, and I doubt he will ever want to see her again. Not to rant about the mother, but she lied and said disgusting things about her youngest son, and he's the only good son she has. He's the only one who doesn't owe his dad anything. He's the only one with compassion and high morals. The only one who constantly worried about her and kept in touch with her. She messed up in the most disgusting way. How can she do that? He was there for her more than her other 3 kids put together, all for a lawsuit that she had to know they were going to lose. Her testimony did nothing to help their case. Nothing. She testified for absolutely no reason. We sent Christmas gifts to my boyfriend's sisters and their daughters. We received thank you cards in return. They haven't contacted my boyfriend since, but I have received a couple of hello emails from one of them. She never mentions my boyfriend or the family problems. She just says hello and asks how I'm doing. I just respond by saying we're both good and hope they're doing well. I'm not sure where this will go, but it's a small step in what seems like will be a long road before they're allowed by their father to reconcile with their brother, or until they have the courage to do so without the dad's blessing. I think they're both too embarrassed to contact my boyfriend directly. I can sense that they're trying to find a way that will eventually lead them to him. I think they need to just contact him, but that's not my decision. I keep looking at this from my perspective, and my family is really close, so it's hard to watch what's going on with his family. I just think, what the hell? Why do you do this to each other? But that's just how it is. Just to be clear, I knew very early on that my boyfriend's parents were toxic. I initially just wanted him to cut all ties with them, with the way they sided with the older brother, knowing how he tried to destroy his own brother's career, told me a lot. I wished back then that my boyfriend would just disown them, but I knew that was unrealistic at the time. I knew I was emotional, and I backed off when I saw how stressed my boyfriend was. But things escalated, and escalated. And now, I think my boyfriend's mom has dealt a death blow to any chance of reconciliation. I'm not just saying that because I'm against it. I'm not for it, and I'm disgusted with her. But I can see the damage she did up close. I'm afraid he may never forgive her. She just went overboard in such a horrible way. I've been talking to my dad about this the whole time, and everything has turned out exactly the way he said it would. Everybody, all parties, are destroyed. It's like a bomb went off, and everybody got hit. Too long didn't read, the lawsuit is settled. My boyfriend's mother slandered him worse than his brother did, and there won't be a reconciliation ever, from what I can tell. Relevant comments made by the girlfriend of OP. User Crux R comments, the settlement included written apology and complete admission of guilt from all three of the defendants. They also had to write apology letters and retractions to all the employers that refused to hire my boyfriend based on them slandering him. I think there were 4 companies in all. All 3 of them had their licenses taken away, and they will never work as financial advisors again in any state, apparently. They also will face a criminal investigation due to some forged signatures to some of the deals they made, which will lead to conviction, but probably not jail time according to the experts. That gave me a massive justice bonus. That aside, it's good that he succeeded in his case. I only hope that he can live happily without his shitty parents for the rest of his life. Being estranged from family can be very hard for some people. Try to be there for him the best you can. Good luck, you two. OP comments, all parties were destroyed to some degree from this legal fight. My boyfriend will recover eventually, but I don't know when. I keep thinking he'll fall apart, but he's been going about his daily stuff like nothing's happened. I know he's in more pain than he's showing right now. I know that because he literally does not sleep. He just lays in bed, totally awake. This is not normal for him. He's the kind that has a hard time waking up, not the other way around. User LaPew was a creep comments in response, I think especially because of how his mom reacted. Being rejected by her on top of everything was probably traumatic. The breakdown of familial relationships can do horrible things to your mental health, and being rejected by a parent really hurts. He's probably going through a kind of grieving process for his relationship with his family. If you can suggest it to him, he'd probably benefit from some therapy or counseling to help him work through his feelings, and have an objective third party tell him it's not his fault. On some level, he knows you're his supporter, so hearing from you they're the ones who did him wrong isn't the same as somebody who isn't his friend or long-term partner. Opie responds, yes, he's totally shattered from his mom's despicable actions. I can tell as much as he tries to hide it. User the Full Mountie comments, this was exactly my thoughts. Her punishment will be having to live with that decision for the rest of her life. It would be so tough having to choose between going through a divorce and cutting ties with the majority of her family versus doing the right thing and saving the relationship with her one son. I would hope that in this situation, I would do the right thing, but there might be more barriers than we know about in her moral predicament. I suspect that the majority of people who are emotionally vulnerable or easily coerced would probably side with their partner in this situation. You'd have to have an ironclad determination and the willpower to uphold your moral beliefs in this situation, and be willing to risk everything for what is right. Opie comments, to be honest, I don't think I can give her that much benefit of the doubt. She had choices. She would not have been financially strained even if she lost her husband. She knew that because my boyfriend always let her know that before things got really ugly when they were still talking. She had a choice, and she knows how disgusting a person her husband is to everybody he comes in contact with. She had a choice, and it wasn't a bad choice. She had very good options. I really hate her right now. She hurt her son worse than she will ever know. User Greg vs. Greg comments, exactly this. The mother wasn't picking the bad son, she was picking her husband. The relationship in a marriage should be stronger than any type of relationship, even to your own children. That doesn't make what she did right, not even close. What she should have done, though, was talk to her husband long before the trial even began, and told him that she didn't agree with how he was viewing the whole situation. Maybe she could have swayed him a bit and prevented herself from getting stuck defending the people she obviously knew were wrong. Either that, or maybe the father really does run everything and whatever he says goes. That type of situation can work sometimes, but only if the leader of the family is flawless. In times like this, when the father is very much wrong about everything, it all goes to shit as each person follows the leader down the path of destruction, like lemmings off the edge of a cliff. But at the end of the day, she made her choice. I hope she does one day come crying to OP saying, I had no choice, I didn't want to do it, I had to. Bullshit. OP comments further, yes, it is bullshit. She had very good options and her choices even from the beginning were so horrible. She should have never stayed quiet. It's not like she's so weak that she can't stand up to her husband. She's not that kind of woman. She stands up to him sometimes, she just chose not to. Even still, she should have never testified, and worse even, she lied. And she lied in such a despicable way. User Acheron comments, "Thank you for the update. You're an amazing girlfriend to stick through this. I went through a similar thing a few years back, pretty much destitute. And the only one that stuck around was my girlfriend, who has since become my wife. Loyalty is an increasingly rare trait and should be valued above just about anything. That said, if he hasn't proposed within 6 months post an update, I think I'd be joined by many others here in contributing to a Kickstarter to kick him in the balls monthly until he's remedied that." OP responds, "I know he will propose and we will get married someday, but I understand that this black cloud needs to clear just a little bit. I don't want to lose him to depression, and I don't want to pressure him. My dad has been good at keeping me in check on that because sometimes I get impatient. So I need to stay proactive right now and get him all the help he needs. But 6 months seems like a long time, also. I won't put a timetable, but hopefully he proposes soon." User Random Human User comments, "Are you allowed to discuss the settlement like this?" OP responds, "Yes, we are even allowed to say how much money and all the details. There is absolutely no gag order or privacy clause in the agreement. All the details will be public information anyway because they will face future lawsuits from former clients. So what they lost in this lawsuit will be public in order to determine what they have and pay in future potential lawsuits that may come in the future." All he had to do was just give a good reference. That's all it was. Is just not lying like, "Yeah, my brother worked for me, he did a good job." And that's it. But no, instead he decided to slander his brother, lie to future employers, try to lock him back into working for his company at, well, a really bad rate, and in the process drug down himself, drug down his 2 colleagues, and the parents, and the sisters. In addition to whatever shady shit he was doing kind of being put on full display there. From what I could gather, basically, OP was doing cheap work that involved his degree for his brother, and then the brother took full advantage of that, made it go from working for a single summer to 2 years, underpaid the hell out of him, and was also just a scummy guy in general. During his previous job working at a bank, took a list of clients that he wasn't supposed to be privy to, and used that to secure deals that he really shouldn't have been able to. And on top of that, committed forgery, theft, fraud, identity theft, and pissed off the IRS. And also was apparently cheating on his wife, all on top of this. Just not a good guy in the slightest. But hey, that's who the mom decided to side with, and the dad. And oh boy, will it hopefully catch up with them. Also, gotta love some of the early Reddit comments basically being like, "Why don't you just let your brother walk all over you? I mean, seriously." Like, OP was put into a position where he kind of had to do this to clear his name. The brother accused OP of sexually harassing people within his company to potential future employers. This wasn't just a brother messing with his younger brother and being a bit of a jokester, like the dad was implying. He was actively fucking with his future prospects and putting his entire future on the line here. And apparently, OP's just supposed to take it and be good and just accept the fact that now a lot of people are going to think he's a serial sexual harasser on the word of his brother, who's the golden child in the family that everyone falls in line for. But because OP actually decided to lock in and follow through, he finally gets a taste. He finally has to deal with the fact that life isn't going to hand him everything on a silver platter. The brother finally has to deal with the fact that his actions have consequences. Also, sorry this one was formatted so weird and there was so much missing information initially with that first post being deleted. I've had this post in my queue for a while and I figured I could record it ahead of time and maybe actually have a day off for once. So that'll be nice. I'm recording this like a couple days in advance, just to give me some breathing room. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, but we'll be back to the regular stuff coming up soon. Oh boy, we're at the outro. Don't forget to use code KEYZ at checkout with Gamer Subs. And did you know that every time you purchase a creator's tub or a creator's cup and use someone else's code, you actually support 2 creators at the same time? It's a bit of a fun fact right there. This means you don't have to pick favorites. I've actually just considered one of these times just reading one of my videos in one of my really obnoxious voices and just seeing how many people comment on it and what the watch time would look like. That would really be a stress test as to what you guys as my audience can tolerate, huh? So I made the grave mistake. I cut myself pretty badly and I like quickly bandaged it up and used like that adhesive medical tape. Not strips, not band-aids, but like the actual tape to like, you know, cover the wound. And I thought to myself, like, you know what? The medical tape is going to end up taping down the hair, but so be it. That's a problem for future Oz. And sure as shit, that was indeed a problem for future Oz. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time.